Hello, my name is Josh Friedberg. I'm the CEO of USA Skateboarding. The live stream portion of today's event has concluded, and we're excited to spend some time giving you a chance to get to know a few members of our national team a little better. I'd like to give a special welcome to the esteemed members of the press, USA Skateboarding board members, special guests, sponsors, and members of the 2021 USA Skateboarding national team who have joined us for the press portion of our 100-day out celebration. We are honored today to introduce our 2021 USA Skateboarding national team. The team was selected based on their performance in the Olympic qualifying events that began in 2019. You can view the full criteria on our website under About on the Athlete Resources tab. Because we know this is often a source of confusion, we get to select our national team, but our Olympic team won't be finalized until the end of qualifying this June, and it's based on each individual skater's performance in World Skate sanctioned Olympic qualifying events. I'll hand things off to our PR and comms director, Katie Moses-Swope, to introduce today's participants and to get the questions started. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Josh. A ton rolling out on skateboarding. I know it's in the spotlight with it being a new sport, so we just appreciate all the journalists staying on this road with us and continuing that momentum again as we head into qualifying. So we're honored to have the following team members here. Alexis Sablon, if you could wave. Maybe you saw her on the Today Show this morning. Bryce Wetstein is here. Cory Juneau, Deshaun Jordan, Jake Lardy, newest member to the team, Jamie Foy, Jordan Santana, Mariah Duran, and did I see Tom Schaar join in? Yep. Hey, Tom. And Tom is on a sponsor shoot. So things are moving once again for skateboarding. So thank you all for fitting us in between your photo shoots and Today Show appearances. We appreciate you. So with that, we'll just jump right in and
looks like Yuriko.
Yes, hi.
You have a question.
Yuriko from Old School Skateboard Company. I have a question for Alexis Sablon, if she's there.
Yeah, hi.
Hey,
Hi.
now that skateboarding is a first Olympic sport, especially a lot of girls gonna be look up to, everyone and you. So my question is, how do you keep your self-esteem up? How do you get your strengths and focus? Because being a great skater is a one thing, so they can apply to, everyday life also. Like, where do you get your self-esteem? Like, is it something in you, or is it something you have to work for it, like you learn?
Well, I think that this has been a male-dominated sport, or whatever you want to call it, for as long as I can remember, and that's, if it's something you love, it's something you continue to do through that, and you just deal with it. And it's most important to just be yourself and not let something like that, or something that ignorant comments or whatever you have to deal with get in the way. And I think now skateboarding is finally moving into a place where there's so many girls doing it. It's changing really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think its inclusion into the Olympics is something that's really helped put a spotlight on females that really wasn't there before. And I think that that's kind of helped make the industry at least begin to be more accepting and spotlight different types of people, and not just guys. So I think that, there's comfort in numbers. So the more people you see, the more girls you see out there doing it, I think the more encouraging it can be. But even if people don't directly have that around them, I grew up skating with guys, and that's still worked for me because I had good friends around me. So I think it's just kind of, persevering and doing,
wow, great.
Being yourself and not letting anything stand in the way. And so I'm hopeful that in the future will just continue to be more and more girls doing it, and more all different types of people, because skateboarding really should be for everyone. So
Thank you very much.
Sure, thanks.
I have a question from Cindy Whitehead for Jordan Santana.
Hi, Jordan. It's Cindy from Girls Not a Four-Letter Word. And a question for you, being in Texas and with this pandemic, how did you find training during this last year and keeping up with everything you're doing and progressing? How was that for you?
It was pretty hard, just like everybody during COVID. Everything was kind of shutting down. But I think here in Texas, it was a little bit different than anywhere else because our parks didn't close for very long. But I think that I mostly kept skating the exact same amount, if anything, more time to skate, just with everything happening. And I was very lucky to have a lot of facilities that were open, that were private, that I was able to skate during the pandemic. And I really just tried to improve my tricks, considering how much time we had off, and take the most out of the time that we had just to keep progressing more.
Great. Thanks so much, Jordan.
Oh, thank you, Cindy.
I have a question from the Olympic Channel, Ed Knowles, for both Alexis and Jamie Foy.
Hey, everyone. It's super exciting to see everyone on the same call, man. Like, wow, impressive. So, yeah, great to see everyone. First one for Alexis, just building on what you said before, I think, you know, you're super experienced and you've been around before skateboarding being added to the Olympics. So I just wondered what kind of, if you could go into a bit more detail about how the skateboarding being added to the Olympics has affected female skating. You know, have you seen it grow, things grow? What impact has it had on you kind of personally? And for Jamie, I just wanted to know, like, has he imagined like winning the gold medal or anything like that? Like, you know, where is his head at in regards to actually the Olympic Games? Has he managed to kind of get his head around that?
Should I start then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hi. And yeah, I mean, I think I touched on it before in my response to Yuriko, but I think that, you know, it's obviously the industry and skateboarding and all of this, there are so many moving parts, and it's hard to say that this is all because of skateboarding's inclusion into the Olympics. But for me personally, and from what I've seen around me, I do think that, you know, before skateboarding and the skateboarding industry was really, you know, was in this bubble that had been, although skateboarding had been growing and kind of like becoming more mainstream and all this stuff, we had just, people in the industry were kind of just used to having all male teams and only putting guys in magazines, on the covers of magazines. And that didn't seem strange to anyone because that's the way it had been for years and years. And I think that, you know, the Olympics, this kind of big outside thing, force reaching in and kind of shook things up in a way, and changed the way that some people in the industry were thinking about it, just knowing that there was going to be kind of this worldwide stage, not only with men on it, but with women too. It kind of, I think, made people in the industry think, oh, well, we should probably then be supporting some women too and showcasing them as well. And, you know, I think it kind of, so I think it was kind of a catalyst for that. And like I said, I don't know, I can't say for sure if I can't credit just the Olympics. I don't know all the moving parts, but from my end, at least, that's how it seemed. Because as soon as the Olympics were really talked about in a concrete way, and it seemed like this was really something that might happen, you know, it was around that time when, you know, I started to, you know, actually make a living off of skateboarding out in a way that wasn't just contest to contest. And I think the same thing has happened to some other females in the industry. So yeah, I think that's had a lot to do with it personally.
And what exactly was the question again for me?
It was basically, I wondered where, like, have you thought about being on the podium in Tokyo? Like, it's quite it's a bit of it's a bit of a different day, I imagine, for you being on the podium at the Olympic Games, right? So, you know, have you thought about that? Like, how much kind of thought time do you put into the Olympics? And, you know, how excited are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to get into it all and obviously try to work for a podium spot in the Olympics in the future. And I mean, I haven't put a whole bunch of thought into it in the sense of like that's my only mindset, but obviously the thought has crossed my mind where it would be amazing to represent the USA and just be able to maybe get podium in the first ever skateboarding event in the Olympics. So that would be amazing, but also I think like a lot of what I do is just I skate with my friends every day, film, and kind of just like sometimes I practice like at skate park certain tricks and things, but I feel like it's just like me being on my board helps me just stay in the best like shape and the best skating condition I can be in. So I kind of just take it day for day and kind of see where everything's going, especially in these past couple like past year of everything being thrown around all crazy. So kind of just been in it for the ride and just kind of see where it goes. I'm just stoked to be a part of it all and just to be thrown in the mix. I'm super excited.
Okay, great. We have a question here for Bryce.
Hey, Bryce. Cindy Whitehead, girl is not a four-letter word. I know you have basically a skate park in your backyard. Is that right still? You have the half pipe and the bowl?
Yes.
And with the restrictions during the pandemic that we've had here in California being so tight at times, did that really help you with your training, having that available right outside your back door?
Yes. I mean, having a little bit of a skate park in my backyard is pretty much the most incredible thing for me because honestly, it starts to become part of your little terrain, part of your territory. And it's almost like how your room is too. You go into it and suddenly you have little corners that you can dive into. You have things that you want to go into, art, you know, all these networks. And when you go into the yard and you find like a little bowl in there, you're like, wow, like what could I unfold today? You have this little canvas and it's kind of destined just for anything that you can desire, like any tricks that you can just kind of manifest in that day. And you'll learn that like every day you feel like you're re-meeting it for the first time because for me, I've always felt like I've never seen it the same way every day because that's what skateboarding does. And then having that, I'm just so grateful for it, and I hope everyone can come over all the time.
That's awesome.
I have a question here for Jake, with you being on of the members here, the newest member of the national team. Just talk about what that means to you and how you have stayed focused during this year and preparing for competition in the Olympics.
Hey everyone. I would say like being a new member of the team, being like passionate about skating. Like I've been skating since I was 4 years old. I just turned 24, so marks 20 years of skating for me, and it's been the best time of my life on the board all the time. Like always having fun, always skating with my friends and my homies. And then, what was the other part of the question? Sorry, it's kind of loud.
Just how you've stayed focused this past year during the pandemic and staying focused on competition and the Olympics and what that looks like.
Just staying focused, just going out skating every day, whether it's street skating, skating at the park, or just with my friends. But I just honestly just I just like I see the Olympics in the future. Like it's a goal for me. I want to go to the Olympics, so I just keep that in the back of my mind when I go like train at the skate park, I guess you could say. But I just always try to have fun and skate my hardest and just keep a straight head on my shoulders.
Okay, there's a question here for Andrew. Andrew, what advice would you give to people who have a passion for the sport but don't have that kind of support from their families or their peers?
Funny, so I didn't have much support from my family in this, and a lot of the times growing up, you know, wasn't something to be seen. Especially my route wasn't a professional skateboarding route, so I just kept at it. And if you love something, it will work out. I mean, even if you're working a job, if you love something, you make time for it. And that's what I did, and that's what a lot of the skaters do. You know, some of them don't have all the support that some of the top ones do, and they keep, the ones that really want it keep working, and it works out. But you just have to stay passionate and stay loving it. If you don't love it, it's not going to work out, and that's just the fact. Like, if you don't love trying to make it, if you're just competing because you want to go to the Olympics, well, fine. If you want to go to the Olympics that bad, find a sport that you love and works out for you. Don't just sign up for one just because it's something. So, and skateboarding is something you really have to love to make it in this industry. There's no faking it. Skateboarding can sniff out fakes from 10 miles away. So, it's a ruthless sport. So, you really just got to stay loving it. And that's all I can say is if you love it, you'll find a way.
Good advice. This question's for Tom. Came up. We've seen you skating a lot of mega ramp lately. How is it transitioning back into park terrain courses and getting ready to compete again?
It's been a lot of fun skating mega ramp, honestly, but it's a completely different thing. It's not really like a big transition. It's kind of just two different animals. But I mean, I love skating parks, so it wasn't that hard for me to get back into it again.
It doesn't look hard at all.
I don't know about that.
Thank you. I have a question here for Bryce. Says, skateboarding is about skating with your friends. How do you navigate competing against some of your closest friends, like Brighton?
Honestly, I love that question because a lot of times I feel like it's not really about like navigating. It kind of almost happens inevitably because that's kind of what friendship does. Like, you love skateboarding and then you love your best friend that's adjacent to you. And it's like, if you mix the two, you guys are like, you're doing it together and you're both kind of going on a spree of living your dreams together. So I think friendship and love in general is always kind of like the token to like beautiful salvation. Like, no matter what, your friendship and your love is going to kind of override any of the like extremities of like someone trying to push on you all the time. Because love is kind of what surpasses that, and that's why we all love skateboarding, we all love each other. So I think that's more powerful than anything. So yeah, thank you.
Question for Cory. Besides skating, what are you most looking forward to in Tokyo?
I'm looking forward to the experience, being with all my friends, feeding off their energy, just the whole environment of it all is really exciting, and I'm gonna do my best to go, and it's been really humbling so far, so see where it goes.
This is a follow-up for anyone that would like to chime in, just with the conditions and going to Tokyo and not having foreign spectators. And I know skateboarding is a big, you get your energy from the crowds. What are your thoughts on that and family members not coming?
Quick question to that. Are they going to allow like Japanese spectators though? I heard that might be a thing. Or is there going to be no spectators at all?
The last report I know is that Japanese spectators are allowed. It just would not be foreign spectators.
I think that it will matter a little bit because I still think the stands might fill up, but we do get our energy from the crowd, and then like when you land that trick or when the homie lands a trick, and like the energy just goes up from the crowd, just the roaring, like the cheering, and like sometimes like if someone's getting cheered on, like they're chanting their name, or like if like someone gets a 9 club or something, like the crowd goes crazy. So I think it'll have a little effect on the team, but not too bad. Just another day out skating with our friends, and it's going to be super fun. It's going to be a great experience.
I could say, I feel like it's going to be an Olympics like no other, but it's kind of is fitting for the year we've all had, and it's been such a wild and in many ways awful year. So I think just the fact that we're able to be there would be great. And I'm personally, as much as it'll change the energy of it, maybe, I think that I'm just really glad they're not having spectators, because I think, I don't know, having millions of people from all over the world come to one place to sit together in the stands just seems like something that, you know, the world's not ready for. So I'm personally am happy about that. And I think that when you're skating, you know, at least for me, I kind of like block out that stuff anyway, and it's can't really hear the crowd anyway. So I don't know. I think that, yeah, I think it's an adjustment that it's something that had to happen. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I agree with Jake and Alexis. It'd be nice to have the crowd there so you could feed off their energy. It helps sometimes with some people, different ways for others, but I think the main priority is making sure everybody is safe and healthy. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Alexis and Cory and all of them, because, I mean, a lot of times when you're skateboarding, you're kind of amidst, like, in your own world, and it's almost like we're all there, but also I love my family, and I wish that they could come, but honestly, I think that I'm just going to have to reiterate that they're there, just pretend they're there, and also when I go back home, they might be, I mean, if I go, they might be that much more, will be like, oh my gosh, rejoicing that much more. And also, I don't know, I mean, it's a really weird thing because none of us has ever really been there before, so we wouldn't really know what that would be like, so it's going to be kind of a unique experience for everyone.
Okay, I have a question for done with that, if anyone else wanted to chime in. For Deshaun here, congrats on turning pro for Toy Machine and your new video part that dropped yesterday. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and that process?
So as far as like the turning pro journey and the street skating part, that's, you know, as any other like street skateboard, like, you know, that's kind of how we start, and that's like kind of like when it comes to just skateboarding in general, that's like my ultimate, you know, happiness. Like that feeling of going to street skate and like battling a trick, you know what I mean? Where there's no clock, there's no like determination, you know what I mean? On that, you're just skating like purely out of love and pushing yourself. Like that feeling is unmatchable. And I mean, you get that in a way with skating contests, you know what I mean? Just by, you know, your mind being in that competitive aspect. But like, there's nothing like having that freedom to go street skate. And it's obviously been harder with last year or the year before that when it was kind of like contest where it was like at one point you had to put your mind like in the space of like, yo, like I'm competing pretty much like all these months with almost no room to go street skate because of the like the hurt factor. So I mean, getting this downtime to kind of be able to get back to like that side of skateboarding has been a tremendous like help for me in general. And just obviously, you know, with everything that happened along with me being able to drop apart, I mean, just mentally, as a skateboarder, that's definitely empowered me in amazing ways. And so, yeah, like I'm super stoked and blessed to be able to, you know, have this opportunity to go pro and be on a dope company with amazing skateboarders who have continuously pushed skateboarding throughout the years and, you know, continue to do so. So yeah, it's a beautiful journey and I'm stoked to be a part of it.
Awesome. I have another question here for Tom. Have there been any key turning points in your development as a skater to reach this level, or has it been more of a case of steady progression with the right support at the right time?
Kind of all three. I mean, definitely the right support. My parents, I would not be doing any of this without them, and the team I'm surrounded by is amazing. But definitely just, I mean, yeah, there's been turning points. I grew up like skating only vert and mega ramp pretty much, and then I don't know, I kind of just grew out of it a little bit and started to skate more parks and stuff like that because they were just kind of building less vert ramps and stuff, and that just kind of seemed like the way it was going. And I don't know, I haven't looked back really.
Okay. Question for Josh and maybe Jake or whoever wants to chime in. Is anyone surprised that half pipe isn't an Olympic event? So Josh, I'll let you answer, and then Jake, if you want to chime in.
Sure. Thanks, Katie. I can give some background on why the events in Tokyo are street and park. I was working with the International Federation World Skate while we were in the process of determining what skateboarding was going to look like in the Olympic Games. And at the time, there were not enough female vert skaters in the world to field full fields. So they really looked at events that had equal numbers of men and women able to compete to meet the gender equity requirements for new sports going into the games. And then I'll go ahead and pass it off to Jake for his viewpoint on that, because we know that he gets down on vert too.
Yeah, so I kind of skated everything growing up, and I was more favored on the vert ramp side of things, and I lived about an hour from skate park at Tampa, better known as Spot. They had a really good vert ramp there for about 10 years when I started skating there, and then they eventually tore it down. But I noticed, like, growing up in Florida, like, when I was really young, there was a lot of vert ramps all over the state. Like, you had a few on the West Coast, a few on the East Coast, some up north, some down south. But then kind of as, like, vert kind of started dying out and less people were skating it, the ramps started, like, deteriorating, and less and less people started skating vert. And you could also see that in the contest side of things. There was less and less contests. New Tour took away vert, and then now I think the only one left is X Games and, like, the Renegade vert series you see throughout, like, the East Coast and, like, Houston and stuff like that.
Yeah. Terrain is one of the things that informs the progression of skateboarding, and as vert ramps became less popular to build and they started building more park terrain courses, it just naturally shifted the participation. But that's something that we're hoping to be able to change as we move forward and see more skateboarding disciplines in the Olympic Games, hopefully by 2028.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the half-pipe skateboarding too, is like, I think it's pretty eccentric to X Games too. Maybe that's another little magical part about X Games. That's kind of one of the only places you could see that really half-pipe skateboarding competition like that. It's like, oh my god, it's X Games. So I think it's pretty eccentric to that too.
Okay, thank you. I have a two-part question for Mariah. One, where are you? Are you at a park?
Yeah, I'm in Manny skate park right now, but
that was part one. Two, with billions of people around the world watching the Olympics and probably skateboarding for the first time, what do you want the audience to see, and what impression do you want them to take away from the skaters?
I guess being on a platform like the Olympics, I guess it's just like an open door, because I feel like skateboarding is so big that, like, maybe this will, like, encourage people to look more into skating, because I feel like skating is so much more than just contests. And it's cool to kind of just introduce it, you know, on one of the biggest platforms, of course. But it's also, like, I feel like skateboarding is kind of like a tree, you know, like, the root is, like, kind of always going to be, like, the culture part, and then you can kind of just branch out to whatever you want to go to. And it's such an individual thing that I feel like, with it being in the Olympics, I feel like it can, I don't know, I guess I just want to see, I'm hoping the Olympics will just, like, allow skateboarding to just be taken more serious and, like, just understood that it's more than just, like, contests and stuff. And it's amazing, like, I feel like that's the biggest thing that I personally would want to see out of it.
Awesome. This next question is for whoever would like to answer it. Have you seen the courses for the Olympics, and what do you think of them? Of California skate parks designs. Anybody want to jump in?
Sure, I'll jump in. I've seen, CA Skate Parks released the 3D design for the bowl and the street, and I think the street course looks amazing. It's going to be insane. It's kind of cool how they have it, like, you drew a line down the middle of the course. It's mirrored on both sides, so it's going to be fair for both people who are regular and groupie. And then everything's all symmetrical, so even. It looks it's a really fun course. A lot of rails, a lot of gaps, a lot of stairs. It's massive. And then I'm sure the park dudes are going to have a blast over in the park section. It looks super sick as well.
Sometimes I think of, when I looked at the park course, I don't know if there's, like, a plexiglass wall in there. I think there was, But I always think of it too, like you're literally maybe at like a recreational park, and that's kind of what makes it beautiful, is because nobody skateboards one obstacle differently. No one takes something and makes it look the same as the other person. So I'm really ecstatic for that.
From a strategy standpoint, there's a whole ton of options for everybody. I think they really included every type of obstacle they could to get as much variety on the course out of this Olympics, which is cool, because a lot of us have fears of it just being one thing or another. So I think in person it's going to still look a lot different than what we see on the image, but I'm excited for that side of things, to strategize with every individual skater and their individual skating. So.
Yeah, I saw both courses too. The street looks amazing. It's really big. I'm excited to see how everyone uses it to their style. Hopefully I can get over there and skate with Jake and Deshaun maybe a day or two. The park looks really fun. They added some rails in there, so you don't really know how it's gonna feel or how it's gonna be till you get there. So I'm just excited to go and skate, see how everyone uses it, and should be cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of great skateboarding, so I'm super excited whether I'm there or whether I'm watching it. So I can't wait. They really killed it with the course, and shout out to the dudes over at CS Skate Parks. They did their thing, and yes, everybody get ready to amazing skateboarding.
Okay, so I have 2 more questions for anyone that would like to join, and then media, just a heads up, if you have any more questions, put them in the chat now. We'll try to wrap this up in 5 minutes. So to whoever wants to answer, do you think, and I know no one will answer this, do you think at the Olympics we should expect to see never been done tricks? They're not asking what, but.
Oh yeah, I think facts. I think for sure. A lot of people have already been just kind of like, are like training their brain to kind of like think outside the box as far as like what they might want to try, or, you know what I mean? But then even in general, like if you're just skating, you know what I mean? Like how Jamie mentioned earlier, like when you just skate, you know what I mean? Things just happen, like you're skateboarding. So you might learn some new tricks. You might, you know what I mean? Just fall into it naturally instead of just being like, like I'm planning like, these couple months out, I'm doing this there. Cause I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like that's not the healthiest thing mentally, you know what I mean? So I feel like as long as you love skateboarding and you pushing yourself every day, like it's limitless on what you can do and what you might be able to do when you get there.
Yeah, and from what I was thinking, I just feel like it's going to be such a, like, even if there's not a whole lot of spectators and the spectators aren't going maybe as crazy as millions of people will be going, like the competition on the course between our being friends will just kind of excel the skateboarding and doing a whole nother level, like knowing that you're like on an Olympic course battling for like the first type of gold medal for skateboarding. I feel like that could definitely produce some type of crazy tricks that like hasn't really been done in a competition scenario before, and especially with the group of people that are there, like I definitely would assume some crazy stuff could go down.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with Deshaun and Jamie, because first of all, skateboarding is like so unprompted and like everything's so unconstrained that sometimes you'll be sitting there and like people like Jaime or something will go and do like a massive 50,000 foot frontside air fakie. I don't even know. You never even know the name sometimes. And then everyone blows a gasket. They're like, what? And then no, it's just that's part of skateboarding that I've never ever felt ever anywhere else. It's like, it's incredible.
Anybody else on that question? Next one is if anybody wants to share, what song do you listen to just before a contest?
Don't be shy.
Everybody's laughing.
I know, they're like not safe for work.
We should all say it on the count of 3. No.
I'm gonna have to play Boost My Ego, that new Future.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what it's going to be by that time. So I feel like it's just, so much new music dropping all the time right now. Who knows what it's going to be.
hit after hit. It's about to be a lot more albums and tapes dropped by the time Olympic comes. You might have to make a little playlist of his shit one time.
Deshaun, you should make a song for everyone to listen to.
Oh nah.
Drop a banger, Deshaun.
Yeah, the Deshaun anthem. The anthem.
Okay, so no more questions, media. Last chance.
I'll chime in on what you said before, Katie, like about like new tricks being done. I'd say like to me, everybody skates differently. Everyone has their original, like their authentic style. So like if me and somebody else do the same thing, it's gonna be two different tricks in my head. Or if Jake and Deshaun do the same trick, like different place, it's still going to be two different tricks. Everybody has their unique style and their unique way. It's completely original to them. Even, you know, if anybody, for example, like goes and does like the same trick per se, but it's going to come out and look different in how they do it. So it'll be new to everybody to see what they're going to do and how they use the course and what tricks they throw out there. Just to touch on it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Cory. I agree. And then also, I guess I'll just chime in on two artists that I really love. Why not, I guess. I love Smokey Robinson, and I love Billy Joel a lot, and a lot of Fleetwood Mac sometimes. But those are some things. Little garments.
Awesome. Okay, I do have one final question for the team, and then that will be it. Just above and beyond skateboarding, is there any other big picture outcome that you hope comes out of skateboarding being in the Olympics?
I just want to. Oh, my bad, Jake. So.
Go ahead, Deshaun. You got it.
Nah, you got it, big dog. Take it.
All right. I think with skateboarding being in the Olympics for the first time, it's obviously going to open up a new realm for the skaters. Like, there's going to be new skate parks everywhere probably, and then I think a lot more people are going to accept skateboarding as a whole, because some of us, skateboarders in general, just have a stereotype behind us, and I think skateboarding being in the Olympics is going to eliminate that stereotype and show like families and kids and just regular people across the world that skating is like something to be welcomed. Like, we're here to stay, you know?
Yeah, just like Jake said, just growth in skateboarding. I mean, it's already growing. I mean, I know oftentimes all the situations given, it may seem like things are going bad on the skateboarding side, but, you know, I mean, it's been, I feel like, a huge growth, like, just in general with everything, you know what I mean? Like, you know, before it was like, oh, he skates. Now it's like, you can't even go to a skate shop and they have your size wheel and you know what I mean, in stock. So, like, I feel like just in general, it's going to be great growth, you know what I mean, before it, so forth come. And, like, I just want to see everybody, you know what I mean, do great things, eat, and just keep killing it, be able to travel, skate with the homies, drop parts, do all that stuff. So, yeah, let's get it.
Honestly, does someone else want to go?
All you guys.
Well, I think the Olympics is going to shed this new limelight on what the Olympics can be. Because skateboarding, it has kind of like a superpower in a sense. Like, it can do that in a heartbeat. And I think when it sheds a new limelight on the Olympics, it's going to showcase that the Olympics doesn't have to be assorted to one thing or like one way or one structure of how to do something, but more or less it's going to bring what skateboarding has to the table, and that's the limelight and kind of the beauty that skateboarding can be anything that you've ever wanted, and everyone's themselves. You know?
Yeah, and I feel like the Olympics will benefit pretty much off of introducing skating into it as well, because it'll bring like a new fresh eye to Olympic competition and everything. Because I mean, I don't know about everyone else, but I haven't really seen Olympics in a while. So now that like skating is going to be in it, I'm definitely going to be tuned in and watching more of it. And I'd say, just like Jake said, hopefully this will help the whole world recognize that skateboarding is not just just a little sport or a little thing that people do, and not everyone's just like out there to just cause problems or something. Like, that is actually like a career path, and great things can come from skateboarding. And to just see out there, I think a big thing will be the camaraderie between skaters that they'll see on the course, rather than a lot of a lot of other sports or disciplines in the Olympics. I feel like a lot of them might be pretty heavy competitive sided, and with us, I feel like it'll be like, you know, they'll see more laughs and cheers for other people than they'll kind of see in a lot of other sports, I feel like, because skating isn't just like a competition. It goes past all that, where we just want to see everyone do their best they can. And like, I mean, honestly, if anyone does better than me, I'm not mad at them. I'm just super glad to see all my friends doing great. So I just really think it'll be a different side that everyone will see the competition.
And honestly, skateboard's better than NBA, NFL, all that. And we need them type of eyes and that love and that support, because they be playing the skate industry like we don't really get it in. So we need that whole shift.
Yeah, any parks that are being built around the community, maybe instead of some basketball courts or tennis courts or roller rinks that never get touched, just build some skate parks. It'd be sick. Yeah, hopefully it'll just be, the world will accept it more and just become more of a leisure thing to do, and just have people recognizing it as the beautiful sport or the beautiful art that it is.
That's awesome. Obviously I've been thinking a lot about this moment with skateboarding going to the games since I started working on it in 2015. And we all know that things are going to change, but what's really interesting is that skateboarding is not going to change. It's just people are going to be able to understand what skateboarding is for real for the first time. So, taking off my USA hat for a second, when 5 billion people witness the Tokyo Olympics and see skateboarding mostly for the first time, and you have teenage girls from the US and Brazil and Japan and England win medals, and the perception of what skateboarding is going to shift in an instant in a way that's going to benefit everyone, because now governments are turning on money around the world to fund skate park development. They're going to see it's an opportunity for people to compete and have fun and build these lifelong relationships. Everything that we know and love about skateboarding is going to be out in the world for everyone else to see. And I really believe it's going to make the world a better place. So this is a small part of a big picture. We have an amazing family of skateboarders here on our national team and around the world. Part of the fun of being at these contests is seeing our friends that live all over this planet. And it's a really unique thing. And I'm glad that the Olympics are going to be a place that we can share that with everybody. So I can't wait.
I would just add that, Josh just said it and Jake touched on it, and I just think that, I guess I would just hope that this whole new respect that seeing what actually goes into it and seeing it kind of on this global stage and what goes into it, I'd hope that it extends beyond just the people you see skateboarding on TV and competition, because I think for so long people have seen skateboarders as, punks and defacers of property. And, I think that there's just so much more to it, and so much passion and diligence and determination, that I think that's skaters have been kind of misbranded. And so I'd hope that, that the attention that the Olympics brings extends beyond just the people you see on TV and to the, the skaters in your neighborhood and on the street, and people skating outside of competition as well.
Very well said. Thank you, Alexis. So I think we'll wrap it up here, but I do want to call out the media that attended today, because without you, these awesome stories can't be told. So thank you to Associated Press, New York Times, AFP, which is the International Newswire, the Olympic Channel, NBC out of Connecticut, Tokyo2020.org, the official Olympic website, NA Pictures. We have a representative from Toyota here. Thank you for your support. Old School Skateboard Company, Girl Is Not a Four-Letter Word, Spectrum Networks, Washington Post, and NBC Sports. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, athletes, for being available for press. I know we try to not overwhelm you, and we're trying to get a lot of it done this month into May so that we're not bugging you in June, where you can focus where you need to focus. So Thank you so much.
And I'm just going to do a quick wrap up as well. Thank you all for spending time with us today. And a special thanks to the USOPC, our sponsors and partners, Toyota, Nike SB, Tech Deck, Jessup Grip Tape, and ProTech Helmets, the USA Skateboarding staff, our board of directors, committee members, skateboarders around the world, and the countless others who contribute their time and passion to USA Skateboarding. Please follow at USA Skateboarding on social media to stay up to date with everything USA Skateboarding during our journey to Tokyo. Thanks to the national team, and thank you all, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Much love.
Thank you.
Everybody. It's good to see you.
Guys,
Love you guys. I love all of you.
Boy, dude, those flat bars are made for you.
Oh, I didn't even peep yet. I'm gonna peep.
Dude, peep the street course. It looks sick.
All right, I'm gonna see y'all. Peace.
Later.